story, we found a second well on our land. It wasn't on any map. The well wasn't dry, but it wasn't water we pulled up either. I came back to the farm for the same reason most people go back to anything they once swore off: obligation and guilt. Dad had passed 2 years ago. Mom followed not long after. And though I'd long since carved out a modest, quiet life for myself in Cedar Rapids, something about leaving the farm to rot never sat right with me. So, when my contract job ended and I didn't bother to look for another, I packed up what I had, drove 5 hours west, and returned to the land I once couldn't wait to escape. The house still creaked the same way, as if sighing under its own weight. The floorboards still groaned their opinions when I walked past the front room. The fields, though neglected, bore the same slow sway in the wind like a sleeping animal. I didn't come back to mourn. I came back to work. Dad had always wanted to build a new shelter for the goats. Maybe even bring back the chicken coop we'd torn down when I was 12. The old barn was leaning too far left to be of much use now. So I marked off a flat patch near the north end of the property and started digging for the new foundation. That's when I found it. The digging wasn't deep, not yet. I was only a couple feet into the topsoil when my shovel struck something harder than rock. I knelt down and brushed it with my glove. Stone, flat, stacked, and fitted together. It took me half a day to clear the rest of the overgrowth. What I uncovered looked like the top ring of a stone well, thick with moss and cracked at the edges. There was no bucket rig or pulley beam, no rope, just the circular mouth staring up at me. It hadn't been sealed, just covered with dirt and time. There were no records of a second well on the property. I checked the old survey maps in the attic. One well near the house, the one we used until the county lines brought plumbing out this way. That one had been capped in 1998. This other one was nowhere to be found. And yet it was here, solid, silent, waiting. I should have left it alone. But when you find something buried on your family's land that no one ever told you about, curiosity has a way of becoming its own kind of inheritance. I dropped a rock into it, like kids do. I didn't hear it hit bottom. Later that night, I left a crowbar leaning against the rim. The next morning, it was covered in rust, deep, spreading veins of it, like it had been sitting out for a decade in the rain. I'd only left it there 6 hours. I wrote it off as some weird chemical reaction. Iron sulfide, maybe. Groundwater acidity. Something plausible. The next week, I noticed the goats wouldn't come anywhere near the well. They kept to the other end of the pasture, refusing even to graze close to the stone ring. I tried leading one of the older bucks near it by hand. He planted his feet like they were cemented to the ground, snorted once, and bolted. Animals know. They always know. It was a clear night, one of those crisp autumn evenings that carries the faint smell of corn dust and cooling earth. I couldn't sleep. The house creaked and moaned like it remembered every argument, every silence, every slammed door that had ever echoed through it. I poured a drink and stepped out onto the porch. That's when I heard it. A faint sound. Wet, rhythmic, like something being dragged up stone. I followed it across the field with a flashlight. The beam found the well. The sound stopped. The wind picked up, only for a second. And I swear, the moss on the stones rippled like something underneath was breathing. I stood there, waiting for the sound to return. It didn't. But when I turned to go back, I saw something dangling from the old nail where I'd once intended to hang the rope pulley. A length of wet black hair. It clung to the stone like seaweed, dripping slow, oily tears into the dirt. I shouldn't have gone back. I know that now. But the next morning, the hair was gone. No trace of it. Just the well, quiet and unbothered, like it hadn't offered anything at all. And so I built the rig. I found an old pulley and fitted a bucket, just to see. The first 3 times, I pulled up nothing. Dry air and silence. The 4th time, the rope grew heavy. It fought me. Not like weight, like resistance. Like something was gripping the bucket and letting go only as I strained and cursed and heaved. When it crested the rim, I recoiled. Inside was water. Yes, but wrong. Black as ink, thick as oil. Floating on top was something pale, stringy. Hair, long, human, dripping. I kicked the bucket over and stepped back. The liquid hissed as it touched the dirt. The hair stuck to my boot. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, nothing stays near the well for long. The tools rust in hours. The shed closest to it collapsed without window weight. The grass around it died in a perfect ring. I filled the bucket one more time. Some part of me hoping I'd imagined it. What I pulled up wasn't hair. It was a tooth. Human. Smooth. Yellowed. But still whole. Root and all. I didn't keep it. That night, I dreamed of drowning. But it wasn't water. It was hair. Tangled. Endless. Pulling me down. Wrapping my mouth, my chest. Filling my throat like ropes of seaweed and regret. I woke up with mud on my hands. It started 3 nights ago. I woke up standing at the edge of the well. Barefoot, shirtless, dirt under my fingernails. I didn't remember getting out of bed. The next night the same. I left the door locked. I wedged a chair under the knob. I even tied a string around my wrist and looped it to the bed frame. But the next morning, the string was neatly cut. I was back at the well. Last night, I set up a camera. The footage showed me rising at 3:17 a.m. I didn't open the door. I didn't walk across the field. I emerged from the climbing, soaked, smiling. There's something alive down there, not living in the way we understand, but awake, waiting. And somehow, God help me, I think it remembers me. Last night, I heard it whisper. It said my name, not aloud, not like sound, but inside, like thought, like guilt. It said, "You brought me back." I dug through the old county records, drove into town, talked to the oldest man I could find at the VFW hall. He looked at the satellite printout and pointed to the empty spot on the field where the second well now sat. He said that patch wasn't supposed to grow. Not since the drowning. I asked what he meant. He didn't answer, just said you ought to move. I asked how long ago it happened. He said, before roads had names. I dream every night now, and each time the dream lasts longer. I go deeper. The walls of the well aren't stone anymore. They're flesh, braided, hair-covered, slick. The voice is louder. It's not angry. It's lonely. And it wears my face. I'm writing this on the porch. The sun is going down. And I know where I'll wake up tonight. The dreams aren't dreams anymore. They're invitations. And I've stopped resisting. The well isn't dry. But it isn't water I pull up either. It's memory. It's guilt. It's me.